So our first presenter in this section is Jennifer Boie from the Palouse Conservation District, talking about conservation and restoration on the Palouse.
Okay, well, thanks so much, Mackenzie. Hello, I'm Jennifer Boie, and I'm the director at the Palouse Conservation District. And I'm happy to be here with everyone today to talk about the Conservation District and the work that we do with the community to conserve natural resources across the Palouse. Conservation districts are local government entities, and Palouse CD is one of 4 conservation districts located in Whitman County. Our mission is to foster the voluntary conservation of natural resources by providing the tools, education, technical expertise, and financial assistance to support our local community in reaching their conservation goals. Our conservation priorities are determined by the community, and top priorities include increasing soil health, water quality, and habitat across the Palouse. Relationships are at the foundation of all the work that we do, and we strive to be the trusted resource for voluntary conservation, resulting in healthy ecosystems. We work with anyone who is interested in conservation, including landowners who farm their own ground and land managers who lease ground. We work with producers at any scale, from small scale livestock and crop producers to large dryland grain producers. We also work with landowners who are interested in improving habitat on their property, whether it's riparian habitat along waterways or upland habitat, including Palouse Prairie. We often find that smaller producers are not aware of our services. So I just want to reiterate that we are available at no cost to all land managers who would like to do conservation planning or who would like to install conservation practices. And if you don't live on the Palouse or in the Palouse Conservation District area, you definitely have a conservation district near you. And I encourage you to reach out to inquire about their services. So Palouse Conservation District was established in 1940, but over the past 20 years, we have worked with over 400 land managers to implement on-the-ground conservation practices across the Palouse and have provided technical assistance and educational opportunities to thousands of land managers and community members. We are 100% grant funded, and our funding for this work comes from many different sources, including grants from state and federal natural resources agencies, local agreements with cities, counties, and other conservation districts, and nonprofits and private funding. We have an annual budget of approximately $3.5 million, with all of that funding going directly to technical assistance to land managers, providing funding to land managers to actually implement conservation practices on their ground, providing education and outreach, and then conducting research and monitoring to make sure that the conservation efforts are actually having the effect that we're working towards. And all of our conservation work is accomplished through partnerships, including partnerships with community members, land managers, and other partner organizations. So the partnership that I would like to highlight today is the Palouse Regional Conservation Partnership. I'll call it RCPP. And we've been working for the past 6 years with 18 partners from across the Palouse River watershed. We've worked with land managers to increase soil health, water quality, and habitat. And the funding for that partnership comes from the Natural Resources Conservation Service, in part, who committed $5.5 million originally. And then local and regional partners who have come together to provide contributions that leverage that federal funding, and resulting in total with more than $14 million in conservation services and on-the-ground conservation implementation. Primarily by way of riparian vegetation along waterways to improve habitat and water quality, and reducing tillage on farm ground to improve soil health. And then we have also worked in partnership with the Palouse Land Trust to finalize conservation easements to keep prime farmland in production and to preserve and protect other habitat, including Palouse Prairie. Partner organizations include all 8 conservation districts in the watershed, state and federal natural resources agencies, the Nez Perce Tribe, WSU and U of I, the Palouse Land Trust, PCEI, and the Pacific Northwest Direct Seed Association. And one of the wonderful things about the base of the federal funding for the partnership is that we can work at the scale of the natural resource concerns rather than at political boundaries. And so together, doing some initial monitoring from the first 5 years of our partnership, we were able to show substantially less sediment and lower nitrate concentrations in sub-watersheds where tillage has been significantly reduced. And a lot of that conservation work was supported largely through funding from the partnership. What you also see on the slide here are some of the deliverables and outcomes that we were able to accomplish to date. So during the first 6 years of the partnership, we were able to accomplish almost double the amount of conservation on the ground as we originally thought we could, really speaking to the power of partnerships to amplify conservation and what we can accomplish as a community when we all work together and leverage the resources and expertise that we have in the region. Due to the success of the partnership, we've been awarded an additional $5.5 million from NRCS. And for this renewal period, we have added the Phoenix Conservancy and the Palouse Audubon Society. And together, the 20 partner organizations have committed an additional $8 million of local and regional funding to leverage that federal funding. So we look forward to an additional about $13.5 million in conservation services and implementation in the next 5 years. And we're really excited for the continuation of the partnership. And thank you for inviting me to be with you today to talk about how Palouse Conservation District serves the community and to highlight these recent community conservation successes.
Thank you so much for sharing all of that really, really inspiring success that you've had. We really appreciate it.